Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Sammy. We got the patch notes, and in this video, I'm going to give you my top 10 impacts of the patch notes from my perspective and from my opinion. Now, I do want to say a couple of things. Personally, I feel these patch notes are a huge W, and I'm going to outline why in this video, but I'm going to also state the following. I can understand why some of the player base is a little bit upset. Some people are upset because Twister wasn't nerfed to the ground. Some people are upset because the warrior got you know what. So there are going to be some upset people, but I think overall, for the health of the game, I really do believe this is a huge monumental step forward. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. So let's get to it. Now, before we get into my top 10, I do want to say I completely understand there's going to be varying opinions out there. Like, a lot of people were banking on Twister to get heavily nerfed, and it walked away unscathed. So I know a lot of people are upset about that. So I know there's going to be a lot of opinions out there. But as a whole, I think this was a W. The first thing that stuck out to me is Leech got gutted. We can only have one Leech instant at a time, and damage cap is added to the Leech calculation. That impacts the amount of Leech we can get. So the one thing I want to talk about here is just highlight, is that there's now a limit of the maximum amount of damage a hit can be considered to deal for Leech. So they've capped it at 40,000. Anything above 40,000 is considered to be a 40,000 damage hit when it makes its Leech calculation. So they've capped the amount of Leech we can get by the hit damage. So this is definitely going to be a massive meta shift, and we are going to feel this immediately for those of you that incorporate Leech into your builds. So it's going to be very interesting to how players mitigate this, or is this still going to be enough to use Leech? Again, we will not know the impact of all these changes until we get our hands on it. But Leech got gutted big time, and I think this may mean a massive meta shift when it comes to Leech, but only time will tell. Energy Shield. Speaking of nerfs, oh boy, Energy Shield ES was mentioned so many times in these patch notes, is unbelievable. So less recharge, scaling, and recovery all over the passive tree. Massive nerfs. Everything was nerfed basically on the recharge scaling of ES. Basically, ES is less immortal overall. And a lot of the builds in prior patches, Energy Shield was a main staple of that build. It maintained such sustainability for the build. It really was OP. I think the writing was on the wall for ES builds, and you know it's gonna be and the recharge, the faster recharge start replaces raw sustain. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how players react to this. So are people going to go full ES, or full evasion? Are people going to go full armor? Are people going to sway away from ES, or are people going to be like hard-headed and see if they can still make it work? This is what's very intriguing to me. It's going to be very interesting to see how the player base reacts to this. But Energy Shield got nerfed big time, and it's going to be interesting to what now players go to. Full armor, full evasion, maybe armor evasion. We'll see what happens. Or are they going to try to make ES work again? I don't personally see how, but then again, I'm not as knowledgeable with all this stuff in the game, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. But ES heavily nerfed. We may potentially have a new defense meta. Runic Ward. It's a new survival buffer and second chance system per se. It's supported by many new ruins and gear interactions. And basically, after unlocking Verisium Rune Forging in Act 1, this system allows you to add Runic Ward to your armor by spending Verisium. Armors lower than level 55 gain Runic Ward with no downside. Armor above this level trade some of their regular base defenses for Runic Ward. And they've also added new defense, Runic Ward. This defense kicks in once you reach 1 life, allowing you to continue to survive while your Runic Ward takes damage. Runic Ward regenerates independently of your life. Now, with the Leech nerf, with the ES nerf, will Runic Ward be the new defense go-to? We'll see. Again, all this stuff, guys, we won't know until we get our hands on it and we test it out. But this potentially could redefine defenses if you know how to tune it strongly. So I think this was a big takeaway from the patch notes. Now, we did hear about Runic Ward in the live reveal, and now we got some more information on it. But this looks like it could redefine our defenses in 0.5. And when you put on top of the 33% base increase in armor and defenses in general, which Grinding Gear Games has already stated that that's going to happen to all the classes and all the base items in the game, who knows? This potentially could help us and redefine our defenses in 0.5. I think these patch notes showed us that crafting has been massively improved. There's more deterministic crafting, and there's crafting just sprinkled all throughout the new content in 0.5. Way too much to get into one video, but there is a lot, and I think crafting has massively been improved. I think it's going to be more deterministic. How much deterministic? We'll have to wait and see when we get our hands on 0.5. But these meta ruins, the alloys, the rune extractions, like look at all these ruins that have been added to the game that I just, copy pasted from the patch notes just to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about here. There is a ton. There's ancient ruins, mythical early game ruins, like look at which can be unlocked to be crafted by remnant encounters after completing Pharaoh's quest in Act 4. This is the new quest line with the new league. These ruins have powerful bonuses specific to each weapon type. Added 13 mythical early game ruins that can be crafted from remnant encounters to provide significant boosts to level 15 plus characters. There's 3 fluxes which have been crafted from remnants to transform the resistances on your items from one element to the other. I can just go on. There's 15 Runic Ward ruins that can modify properties related to Runic Ward. So I think there's going to be more player control over outcomes, hence why I said I do believe it's going to be more deterministic. How much, we'll see. I think this is a huge player W, giving us more control over our crafting. How much? We don't know yet. And I want to pose the question, if you agree with my assessment here, do you think crafting is finally approachable? Or, some might argue this is going to add complexity to crafting just because of how it's all spread out throughout all the different content in the game. So when you add this kind of complexity, for a lack of a better term, do you think it's going to alienate the newcomers, the new players in POE 2 when 0.5 hits on May 29th? Let me know. I think when you inch up to being a little bit more deterministic, I think it gives players agency in controlling how they craft things. Now, we don't want 100% deterministic. That's boring. But there has to be a good balance between RNG, lottery style kind of crafting and deterministic crafting. And I think if you inch over more on this side, I think it bodes well for the players. But anyway, let me know how you think. But I think this was a major takeaway from the patch notes. This is a notable mention. We already know 05, duh, it's an endgame full, it's fully reworked endgame. This is the endgame patch. And I just think that I wanted to put this on paper and talk about it on this video, that all the things that they've done in the endgame for 0.5, I just think this is the foundation for Path of Exile 2's endgame. I really believe this is a turning point for the game. The Atlas progression has been rebuilt, 300 plus nodes on the Atlas tree, the fortress progression, the pinnacle, all the new pinnacle bosses, the fixed locations of all the content in the infinite world. I can go on and on. All these things are just, to me, chef's kiss, S+ tier kind of design. And I really wanted to mention this again. We were already aware of this, but I think one of the takeaways, not only from the live reveal, but from the patch notes, is that this end game being fully reworked, I think this is the foundation, the successful foundation for POE 2 to really have a healthy and successful future. Another quick one, Delirium looks insane. Looks really good. I think this is going to this is where you got to go for jewel crafting. Again, fast. You better have a fast clear, man. You better have a build that clears fast. But Delirium, I just wanted to mention, reading those patch notes, Delirium looks insane. Breach, I mentioned this just because the Genesis tree, this looks unbelievable. So this could become mandatory crafting, farming content, and I tie it all to the Genesis tree. And there's a lot of quality of life in the actual breach mechanic that's just going to make it easier for new players to understand how to run breach, how to do it. It's not a complicated mechanic to begin with. And then at the end of the day, when you put all your effort and hard work into running and farming breach, you can go to the almighty Genesis tree and reap the rewards of your labor. So again, once again, tied to crafting, it's just, I think breach is going to be another popular content. And obviously, it looks like a fun mechanic. I can't wait to, fully utilize this mechanic. And of course, visiting that Genesis tree is going to be top notch, in my humble opinion. Big takeaway from the patch notes, which it was a good synergy from the live reveal, the campaign, quality of life improvements. I'm going to go on and on about this stuff. Just again, S+ tier design, the better layouts and the progression flow now that they're going to be putting into 0.5, apparently less dead zones, which I think is going to mean that faster replayability for alts and league starters. They're going to give us hints throughout the campaign. They're going to be better laid out. And I think the progression in the campaign is going to feel better. And I think, like I say here, is the campaign going to be less annoying? We're going to wait and see. Now, we're still missing Acts 5 and 6. I think that's going to happen in 1.0. So we're still going to have to deal with the interludes. But Act 3 took a hit, which is good. This is why I mentioned better layouts. And I'd be remiss without mentioning, even though this has nothing, well, it does have something to do with the campaign. That's the build import quality of life. We'll now be able to import builds into our in-game, which will help us and guide us through the leveling process. And you literally will have a guide in-game showing you, what armor to pick up, what weapons to pick up, how to assign nodes on your tree, what skills and support gems to take. All this stuff can be imported in-game. It's like a helping hand that is honorable mention to me. That is going to be huge. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it, but the campaign quality of life improvements, big W, big W. Okay, so let's talk about the big build nerfs. And again, too many to mention, but these are kind of like the ones that stuck out with me. And that is lightning arrow took a bit of a hit. Multiple lightning beams are no longer able to chain onto the same target. Pathfinder on the poison side took some hit. Overwhelming toxicity notable passive skill now grants 50% less poison duration. Previously, it was 35. And the big one, the warrior shield wall. Yeah, there's a lot of people crying about that. And I understand why. That sucks. Like, personally, I don't know what to say about this. Like, I'm going to save it till the end, actually, on my overall thought on what I believe Grinding Gear Games kind of thought process is overall. I'm not talking specifically about the warrior, but, again, the shield wall, and we saw all those OP builds and how they were just crushing content and obliterating bosses, and never mind the speed racers, but again, the people that speed run the game, their job is to find this in the game. So it's not their fault, blame the game, not the player kind of thing. But they took a position on shield wall, and it's right here. Shield wall cannot hit the same enemy multiple times. Shield wave now deals 5 to 7 fizz damage, added fizz per 15 armor, previously 6 to 8. So it took a hit. I know a lot of people that play this build are not happy, and I don't blame them. I can understand why. And add injury, add salt to injury is the fact that, everyone, the majority of people wanted Twister nerfed to the ground. So when that didn't happen, and then you get this kind of stuff on the other stuff, you can see why some people are upset. And just kind of like honorable mentions, some of the stuff that got tweaked or hit, Rolling Slam, Ice Shot, Tempest Spell, they kind of got hit as well. And my take from all these nerfs per se is the fact that maybe Grinding Gear Games is targeting screen clear and the one-shot gameplay. What do you think? Minions and totems got buffed, so better companion scaling, totems, big time improvements, and Inferno Legion buffs. Again, I do not play minion builds. I don't think I've ever played a totem build either, so I'm not big on either of these play styles. However, minions and totems, from what I read in the patch notes, looks like they may become top tier starters. What do you think? Next up, Divine Orbs. Divine Orbs are going to be more common in the game. How could I not mention this as a top impact in 0.5? And do you guys think now that Divine Orbs are going to be more common, is this going to encourage players to craft more? Actually, will we have a choice? Will we have to use Divine Orbs more in order to craft? Will this give us less fear on the valuable currency like Divine Orb, now that Divine Orbs are going to be more common? And more common means what? Instead of getting one in a campaign, maybe we're going to get two? Or does that mean we're going to get one per act? What does more common mean? Again, we'll not know until we get our hands on the game. But Divine Orbs are now more common. So I took a couple of snippets out of the patch notes. The base armor of existing items will be automatically adjusted, while armor modifiers on existing items can be updated with a Divine Orb. Now, I've maybe done this a handful of times in all my time playing Path of Exile 2, so I'm not very experienced with this. I understand what it does. I understand how it works. What do you guys think? Do you think this is going to be healthier for the game overall? Because some crafting currencies are rarer. The greater and perfect transmutation and augmentation. Does this mean less spam crafting? Does this mean more meaningful decisions? Is this a push to craft smarter, not easier? Spamming? No. Meaningful crafting? What does this mean? This is what is very intriguing to me. What does more common mean? What does it mean with us losing the, not losing, but greater and perfect transmutes and augmentations are less rarer? What does this mean? Are they pushing us towards the more craft smarter, not easier? Let me know what you think. I'm really interested to hear. This one here to me is a sleeper. I'm on the fence, like I said. So we'll see the impact, and we won't know until we get into 0.5. So get in the comments section. Give me your take on everything that I just covered. I really would like to hear, like, even from the people that really know crafting, like the meta giga crafters in POE 2. Get in there and let me know what your assessment is of this very, very interesting. And I am very interested to see, this is why I put this as my take. Is this a push for smarter crafting over, not just spamming easier crafting, if you know what I mean? Anyway, get in the comment section. Let me know what your take is. Okay, another huge change. Sanctifying and Corruption now scale current values. So less, and before it just picked one, it was random. Now, potentially this could mean less item bricking, less casino crafting, more incremental upgrades. Now, again, my question to you is this a massive philosophy shift toward controlled crafting? And you've heard me use that terminology a couple of times in this video. So very interesting. Let me know what you think. But Sanctifying and Corruption now scale current values. That's the big takeaway from the patch notes. All right, so what is my overall feeling of the patch notes? First of all, like I said already, I think this was a W. This is a W, patch notes. I think this is good for the game. And I did come away with a feeling. And again, this is my opinion. You get in the comment section, let me know I'm crazy. Overall, I feel from these patch notes, the sense I got, Grinding Gear game wants the following. They want better crafting. They want more build identity, stronger progression systems, better endgame structure. Why do I feel that there's a W? These patch notes and 0.5 is a W. I think we have an abundance of riches in this game. An abundance. 0.5, and you guys can call me all the names you want. I'm a glazer, whatever. But I personally feel we have such an enormous amount of riches in this game. The amount of crafting options we have. The build diversity in 0.5 is going to be off the charts. And yes, I understand there is a lot of nerfs in these patch notes, but I do strongly believe there are going to be a ton of builds out there that are very playable and will be able to just dominate the content. The progression system is stronger. The campaign, I think, is going to be less monotonous with some of the quality of life features they brought into 0.5, plus the progression systems in the game and the end game. The structure in the end game to me is, oh my God, I think it's going to be very popular. We now have fixed zones. The infinite world now has purpose and structure. And I think this is going to be it's going to bode well for the players. I think everyone is going to, or at least a good portion of the player base is going to enjoy the end game. So I think all this patch note, these are the main takeaways for me. And I think this is what kind of GGG is starting to lay the foundation on what they want. Now, what they don't want, I don't think they want infinite sustained mechanics. I don't think they want immortal builds per se, like the one shots, the one button screen wipes. Like, they don't have a problem with us being gods once we put in the effort and time and we're at the end, we're in the end game. They don't have a problem with that. I think they do have a problem with us being gods in the beginning. So take that with kind of, I know that could be kind of a varying opinion and kind of, you know, cancel each other out. And you're like, what are you saying, Sammy? But I do think they don't want this kind of stuff. So when you're thinking about why are they picking on this and why on not on that, maybe this comes into play and will help you understand why I picked a lot of this stuff out. And just in closing, my final take after sleeping on these patch notes, because it was a long haul, those patch notes. I do think 0.5, the Return of the Agents, is the patch where Path of Exile 2 is finally starting to define its identity. It's the one thing I didn't mention in this video is that I personally feel 0.5, the patch notes, and reading it, and you add that to the live reveal and all the information we got, I do believe that Grinding Gear Games is finally putting their identity in the game, and I do think it bodes well for the future of Path of Exile 2. I've always stated that Path of Exile 2 will be the best ARPG in the industry, in the genre, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I'm staying true to that. I do believe it's going to be the best ARPG. Let's just look at all this stuff that we're getting. Like I said, just enormous amount of riches in the game. So I'm looking forward to May 29th. I'm sure you are too. And get in the comments section. Let me know what I missed. Did I miss anything that you're like, what the hell, Sammy? How did you not talk about this? Get in there and rip me a new one and let me know. And if you agree with some of the stuff I said, get in there. If I said anything wrong, get in there and correct me. And yeah, would love to hear it. And as always, if you can like the video, comment on the video, it'll help push it through the YouTube algorithm. And as always, it would mean the world to me if you could support my channel by hitting the subscription button. It would mean the world to me. Anyway, guys, we will see you on May 29th. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. The opinions expressed in this video are mine and solely mine. Healthy debate is always encouraged. Hate is never welcomed. So get over it.